guys. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to season 3 of LadyyT. Let's talk about it. If you're tuned in before, welcome back. Thank you for coming back. And if this is your first time, what's up? Hello, how you doing?
Hello.
Hello.
Let's talk about it. It's a show where we're not afraid to talk about taboo topics. And things that people don't tend to want to discuss, don't automatically go towards discussing every day. So tonight we're discussing the joy of being Black, and we're joined with our allies. We're discussing this with Aaron and Miles, and also Savannah. Thank you guys for coming in and talking with me.
Thanks for
Definitely.
having us.
Absolutely.
Most
So
definitely.
we are going to start with a few quick round questions. Okay.
Excellent.
So you got to answer with your favorite Black person.
Wait, what?
You answer with our favorite Black person. Okay.
Okay. Oh boy.
And if you ever need a default Black person, say LadyyT. Like I'm it. I'm the one. Okay. Who is your favorite musical artist?
Beyonce.
Michael Jackson.
Ray Charles.
Ray Charles.
Luther Vandross. I
See?
subbed that
See?
one.
See?
So we got Ray Charles, Luther, Beyonce. I'm gonna have to tilt it. I'm going Beyonce too. Y'all
I
know
actually really like Ray Charles too, but I'm gonna stick with Beyonce.
great answer.
No, Luther though? Come on.
I don't mind.
Oh, I love Luther.
Yeah, but like, I'm
Okay,
always gonna feel sad with Luther. Like I just
Never
want
too much.
coffee.
I was about to say never too much. That's
I
not
know. They ain't that a superstar? Come on now.
Okay, we gonna have another musical debate later. Okay.
Okay.
sad.
Favorite actor or actress?
Sterling K. Brown.
Denzel Washington.
That's a good one. Willard Smith.
Ooh.
Okay, I have a question though. Can I make a little question real fast?
Question.
Denzel or Will Smith? One has to go.
Ooh.
Denzel, Will Smith.
That is tough.
I don't know.
Denzel has done more films that are more important.
True.
But Will can
Will Smith
go
though,
at any age.
getting jiggy with it still.
I'm saying Denzel.
He has to go.
No, stay. He's staying. But Will
I would
can
have to
go.
pick Denzel.
Will, I feel
That's
like
hard, but that's tough.
Will is timeless.
Yeah.
He's now on
Denzel ain't timeless?
That one tear in glory. He's gonna
Oh, Lori.
no, great actor, but Will can last longer in this generation.
Yeah.
He's on TikTok. He's big on Instagram. He came out with Bad Boys
But
3.
Denzel's also on Broadway. I mean, like,
How many people are actually going to Broadway right now?
Right
too.
now?
I mean, not during COVID.
Yeah.
But
So on the lady side, who's your favorite actress?
Viola Davis.
Ooh,
Ooh, or Octavia Spencer. Okay, Viola Davis. Okay.
Viola. She did that in a Raisin in the Sun.
Mhm.
When she said that child got a mother, but you don't got a wife. I said, I felt it. She was like snotty.
You feel things, yeah.
My guys, you're thinking way hard about this.
trying to filter through my Rolodex of actresses and just who
Started
has,
to say Kerry Washington, but I think I'm gonna go with Thandie Newton.
Okay.
I'm going with Viola.
A lot of people don't know that Kerry Washington was the same in Scandal, and she was also in Save the Last Dance. Like that was like, she was Chanel in Save the Last Dance.
Oh my word.
Mm.
Mind blown.
Go back and look at it. Mm-hmm.
But right now I'm saying Viola.
All that. She was really. Aaron, you haven't picked nobody.
I said Thandie Newton.
Okay. Favorite public figure?
Michelle Obama.
Michelle Obama.
I would have to go with Michelle.
Yeah.
All right, Aaron's gonna switch it up.
Hold on, wait. Is this men or and women or what?
Oh yeah, both.
Men and women.
Ooh.
I'm gonna go Colin Powell.
Okay.
Right now, I'm gonna say Barack then.
Okay.
Excellent choice.
Post presidential Barack.
Okay.
Feeling that.
All right. Did you say somebody, Aaron?
Colin Powell.
Okay. All righty. So that was just a start of greatness. You know what I mean? Each person has done something great, something impactful in our lives and stuff like that, right? So just kind of getting into it. We're talking about the joy of being Black and also allies, right? So we have a lot going on in our culture, in our world, you know what I mean? But our world is one world at the end of the day. And I definitely think we got to talk about the positive of it all. You know what I mean? Because we bomb. But then also,
That's right.
we have some people who are not of our ethnicity who are allies, right? Because I know with pandemic and with what's going on in the African American community, that can get a little muddy, right? Where already with the pandemic, I'm looking at you like, oh gosh, don't breathe my air. And then with what's going on culturally, you're kind of like, I don't know how you think, but there are some people who support us, right? So that's the conversation. So I'm gonna say I support it.
That's why I'm here. Hello.
Yeah, for sure. So my question goes to the guys. What does being Black mean to you? Then we hear
It means picking up the rope where my dad left it off. You know what I'm saying? My dad is someone that's very important to me naturally. But for a lot of Black people in our family, my dad is the pinnacle. So for me, as his oldest son, it's about just picking up the rope where he left it off. And I mean, he's still alive and well. He's got another 40 years on this earth, but making it a little easier for him because his dad made it a little easier for him, and just, towing the family line.
Okay.
I gotta steal that answer from him as well. I mean, more so just giving my future children things that I experience, things that I have, and give them the opportunity that some of like my dad or my grandfather or whatever uncles couldn't experience. And being there for my family, be that person, I guess, for that person to go to, that dependable person for my family.
Okay. I like a piece of what you said, Miles. Your children, the experience you have had. I think a lot of times we talk about, I'm going to give my children everything I never had, but there are some positive experiences, some of the world that we've been able to see, right? So that's a positive. I think that's a plus, you know. Savannah.
Yes.
Do you consider yourself an ally? And if so, what does being an ally mean to you?
Yeah, I would consider myself an ally for sure. And I guess what it means to me is just being supportive in whatever way I can, being vocal about what I believe, not sitting on the sidelines. Yeah, those are the big two, I would think.
No, for sure. And I think they're all big, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because, and you can let me know, do you feel like it's easy or hard to be an ally?
I guess it's a little mix of both. It depends. I think sometimes we maybe aren't sure like what we could be doing that would help that support. And sometimes it's like, oh, is it okay to ask? Am I allowed to be like, oh, hey, in what way can I, as your ally, support you? Because I feel like sometimes, like I've read posts and stuff on Instagram where some people might feel like when we ask questions, like it's not their responsibility to educate us, because that kind of shifts the focus from being like your struggle and making it about me, right? And definitely don't want to do that. But at the same time, it's like, how do we learn if we don't ask questions? You know what I mean?
For sure. Aaron, how do you feel about that? The education side of educating like our allies.
I mean,
do you think there is a right to ask?
I'm in the position to have a Caucasian wife, so the education for her never stops. And at times, I find myself feeling bad, like constantly drilling these things home. But I even asked her, I was like, if it feels like it's too much or it's too heavy, you can pause me, but just understand that I don't get to pause. So she took that on the chin really well, and it's just been a situation where she doesn't even have to ask, because she'll show me something and be like, I'm not going to use the profanity that we use at home, but she's very passionate about it. You know what I'm saying? Because she grew up in a situation where it was a very small town in a very red state. And it just, like, her world wasn't really opened up until she got, I would say, probably halfway through high school. And then she started to sort of see a different perspective. And then, she started dating me. And of course, I opened her aperture even further. So for the 7 years we've been together, it's been nice to constantly know that, like, I would consider her like past an ally. Like she's like a, I don't know, like a teammate, I guess you could say. It's just been really nice to know that no matter what, I always have like a safe white person. You know what I'm saying? Like that sounds funny, but it's nice to have. It truly is nice to have in 2020.
And I think that's a safe white ally. You know what I mean? Is it even for us? It's a good exhale. You know what I mean? And that's why I said we're all, and the whole world right now is looking at each other sideways.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's probably uncomfortable for our allies. It's uncomfortable for us. And then other ethnicities are just kind of looking like, dang, they got a lot going on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that is that line of going from ally to teammate, knowing like, okay, I know this person it's kind of like not checking a person off the list, but it's like, okay, I know how that person genuinely feels.
I feel like, oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I feel like also something that we as Black individuals need to watch for is let's not put somebody down for not knowing. I mean, some things are obviously should be known, but don't jump on a person because they're not informed. Take the time. Sometimes some of us are quick to like be like, well, what do you mean, blah blah blah? You mean you don't know? And when they just don't know, the same and roles reversed. If we're talking to somebody else of different ethnicity and we don't know, let's let you, because we would be like, wait, I don't know. I'm sorry, I didn't know that this offended you, or so on and so forth. So I feel like what we need to do as well is be the same and be like, hey, let's start informing people if they don't know, and not go straight to, oh, you're ignorant, you don't care, blah blah blah.
Yeah,
as well.
I definitely agree with that. I can relate with that too, because like your wife, Erin, I grew up in a very small town, 3,000 people, itty bitty. So when I moved here, it was like major culture shock. So, and when I go back home, I hear the things that people say, and I'm like, oh, how did I miss that when I was here before?
That's a whole other Zoom call. Yep.
Yeah, that's a whole other thing. But I do truly think that they're just like, they just don't know, like, because I know these people and I'm like, man, I know that you have a good heart, and I think that you're just like missing this piece of information.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. How does that feel going, like knowing like now you're expanded, right? And then going back to a small place where either they don't know or they do know, either way, what does that feel like?
It kind of feels like I'm outside the bubble, if that makes sense. Like whenever I go back home, and I love where I'm from, like I love my family and my little bitty town with only 2 stoplights, and I love going home. Yeah, very. But it is a little bit like stepping back into time when I go there. So I just try to keep a perspective when I go, like, it's different than when I'm here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. Miles, you talked about being open to educating, right? And I think the George Floyd case and killing and stuff like that that really made me think when I have my allies around me and things of that nature, and it's because of where I work that it's so diverse now, where there are some people for the first time that they may like, I don't know what to do. I really want to help. Do you guys think that everybody has that helping tick, if that makes sense? So just in the sense of, one thing I had to sit and think, I'm like, okay, this person may not have got it before, but maybe they needed this situation to happen when they have all of these people that they consider themselves friends and loved ones with, and now they want to get it. You know what I mean? Do you think that that's allowed? Is them to have that situation time?
Yeah, because I think, we all are going to have that click in our life. Something's going to trigger us to want to do more, so, and it's going to happen to all of us, whether it's racial or, work related or whatever. We're going to have a click. So I feel like it's normal for anybody to, something affects them, something happens, and it's like, whoa, what have I been doing this my whole life? Why haven't I done this before? So yes, I think that is allowed, and I'm open to all of it.
For sure. Aaron, do you have people that you associate with that have that click moment too?
No. But I'll tell you why. Like Miles and Tan, you guys know that my mom is also white. So it's been interesting to watch. Both my parents were military. They met in the military. They're interracial couple. So they have always flown in the upper echelon of like acceptable society, like blended cultures, just like in a total melting pot. And then where my wife's family is from, it's like, what would you call the opposite of an ally that knows that things need to change and has no interest in that? Because that's the situation.
Bystander.
So it's a bystander. And that's kind of the situation. And that's no knock on them, but no, to answer your question bluntly, there's no one in my life that has had that switch, because my mom has been married to a Black man for 25 years and my wife has been with a Black man for 7. So their level of experience is much higher than your average person that is just coming into these issues.
Yeah.
So I couldn't speak to that, honestly.
And it's crazy because I have a friend who dating interracially, and it wasn't until that friend saw a situation happen pertaining to an African-American male, saw the fear, saw how it was going down, and then was able to understand, like, okay, this is a trigger. Let me learn more. You know what I mean? And I think I respected that friend for that, because I'm like, okay, some people do need situations to want to do more or something like that. You know what I mean? So I think it can happen. But I definitely think bystanders of any race definitely kind of overshadow the positive and the good. You know what I mean? So for both sides, ally and the African-American culture, what ways do you see Black culture positively influencing American culture at large?
It would be easier to answer the complete opposite of the question, because everything is the answer. Music, food, health, science. Like, there's nowhere where Black people are not directly influencing how American culture has been for, I don't know, 70 years.
And for those who don't know, my Aaron is in all of that. He is a crazy foodie. He is big into sports and music, and he is well versed in all things. So I'm pretty sure he did some research stuff on that every day. So you said everything, right?
Yeah, everything.
Okay. So, and I think for me, what's big right now is, and being a woman, I think like Michelle Obama is doing the dang thing for me, even outside of being the first lady. You know what I mean?
Of course.
You said what?
She's a force.
Listen, she is a force to reckon with. Like she's been so active. You know what I mean? So when she was in the house, she partnered with Beyonce and they did a move campaign. So she was trying to help childhood obesity and stuff. Like she's digging in. She's digging in. So I definitely think that there are a lot of positive influences. So Aaron, because you have experiences with both Black and other cultures, I won't even say white because it's not a Black and white situation. It is all allies. What is something that you wish people outside of the culture would understand about our culture? This could actually go to Miles or Aaron.
Say that one more time.
What is something you wish people outside of the culture understood about the culture?
Our community, just how close knit some of us can be, you know, and just how, but not guarded off, but well, I don't know what I'm trying to say.
So think on that. Aaron,
I'll think on that.
So the first thing that jumped into my head was not assuming that any two of us are the same. And in that, I mean, for a positive example, we're not all amazing at sports. We all can't dance. I would say the vast majority of us have a great propensity at those things, at being good at those things.
My dancing came later.
But at the same time, we're not all crooks. You know what I'm saying? The three Black people on this call have, to my knowledge, no criminal record. You know what I'm saying? But let certain news channels tell you that. Boosie, a parking ticket. But let certain news channels tell you, and they're throwing out these wild statistics about, you know, how we're more likely to this or less likely to that, or if the father isn't in the house, blah 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 blah. It's like we're no two of us are exactly the same.
Yeah.
I think that, you know, that I think I'm gonna go off what Aaron said, because I think I experienced something like that where, you know, this past weekend, you know, I had a staycation here in Nashville, predominantly white area, and just we're at actually probably one of the nicest hotels there is in Nashville as well, and just the people that were in there, you know, the other guests that were there, just, you know, just giving a weird vibe around all of us, you know, around me and my girlfriend. I just don't like that when, you know, that just rubs you the wrong way. And I feel like I wish people would treat us just equally as another white person walking in there or whatever, you know, just being treated differently sometimes or looked at differently. This affects that. I wish these people just would, again, treat us as equal.
Because it activates a negative part of your thought process.
It does.
Because you're wondering what it is they're thinking about you. You're wondering why they're looking at you. It's just a whole bad vibe.
I think sometimes it can put us on the defense. All of us actually on the defense. Actually, like we're on the offense with each other. Sometimes we're on the same team. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because I know I've had some people in my life where, like I said, they weren't out to hurt me or anything like that. But because of what all goes on around us or in our world and things like that, it puts us on that defense. And a lot of our allies don't deserve us to be on the defense. You know what I mean? Because I know when, and I think once again, it was after George Floyd, one of my mom's friends called her and was like, hey, I know I'm white, but what can I do to help? What can I do to support? And as awkward as it probably was for both sides, as compact as a question that was, as off guard, you know, that it may have caught my mom, that was a genuine question. You know what I mean? And it really made me take a step back and say, wow, there are so many people who want to help, who don't know how to help, who don't know what to say, how to say it, how to donate, where you know, because I think we can be defensive. You know what I mean? So that goes to my question for Savannah. Do talks help with insight?
I think so, for sure. Because like I said before, if people don't genuinely know, then that's the only way they are going to know, is if people talk to them about it. I was curious though, when we were talking earlier about that, how do you guys feel when you're approached with questions? Like how to help and things like that.
I'm always open to it. I mean, like I said, I can't. I'd rather them be informed and at least try their best. And if it's coming from a good place, then I'm always gonna be down to educate and help another person.
For sure. I think for me, I've become more open.
Okay.
I wasn't always this open. And to be honest, I give a lot of me being open to LadyyT, let's talk about it. Right? So in the beginning, LadyyT, let's talk about it was to talk about all kind of topics and hopefully open people's minds and thought processes to whatever the topic is. That hopefully I can come with an opinion and a stance, and I may come out saying, okay, maybe that's changed. Maybe I can do something different, right? So before, if somebody would have came to me, I'm like, well, why don't you know? Like, why is this the first time you're bringing this up? Like, do you come to all your Black friends about this? Like, but just like you said, some people just genuinely don't know. Like, we're all kind of each person is living in their own world of race, of religion, of experiences and things of that nature.
Something to add, everybody lives a different life.
Yeah.
Even the people in your household live a different life.
For sure. With
people in your family.
Yeah.
So sorry, continue.
I'm a little bit more open to it instead of being on the defense like, well, why don't you know? I'm like, okay, let me take a step back. This person doesn't know. Let me help them. And then they can make an educated decision on how they go about information. Because I know for me now, it's like, I love the conversation you're having with us, but when you're away from your Black friends, your Black family members, your Black husband, your Black wife, what does that conversation with others look like? You know what I mean? And not a challenge, but that's my thought process now. Like, all right, what you gonna do with this information? I ain't giving you all of our secrets. Just kidding about the secrets. But it's just like, what do you do with that information now? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's a thing. Did I answer that question?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, hey, Black Queen.
Yeah.
Listen, so that brings me into, that's Doctor over there, guys.
She's actually going to a study session right now on Zoom as well.
Yes.
So
yeah.
I love it. Excellence. That brings me to my next question, right? Breonna Taylor, right? She was killed in her house doing essentially what any American is supposed to do. It's supposed to be in the house, sleeping, working, whatever the case may be. How do we go about protecting women, Black women, white women? How do we go about protecting our women?
I think continuing to lift them up. I mean, it shouldn't be for any reason why they're being put down, being, talked about, but I think we should continue supporting, lifting them up, because again, there's just no reason why they should be in any other situation but being promoted and being loved, being supported. I just don't understand why that is even in addition on being put down for being Black, but also being put down for being a woman as well. That's just. I feel like we should. I feel like as Black men, as a Black man, I feel like what I'm doing is always, y'all, if y'all ever see my Instagram posts, always supporting, my Black women. that I have, making sure, she's being promoted, not only as my girlfriend, but, she, me and her both, we both also support the things that she does within her social group, as, she's part of, Brown Girls in Medicine, and also part of these Black initiatives, Black women initiatives, Black doctor initiatives, and I think that's just what we should continue to do, and keep supporting them and lifting them up.
For sure.
I've sort of been like, I have a bit of a cheat sheet. So like I like references, and I like reading essays and articles and writing them. So I've been using my gay Black female friends as like my cheat sheet. So a minute ago we were talking about like how our allies of other races can come to us about questions. I've been doing that very thing to my Black gay female friends, because that's like the triple threat of oppression. Like there's no person that is more disrespected and least loved in this country. So I've been using all of my time and effort. Like when I get frustrated about anything, I go to them, and then I just get that reality check, and they're like, well, her favorite thing to say to me, it's gross, but she's like, at least you got a dick. Cause it's helping me. It's helping me.
Gives you a leg up, as it were.
So I mean, it's like I have just what she's been giving me is just to be completely bold and fearless in how I want to be treated by, say, a white cop, for example. That should be how I equally fight to treat any woman. And it's also been important to understand that you don't have to just treat women that you're necessarily attracted to with respect, because I feel like a lot of fellas really drop the ball on that. Like, just because you know that you're not attracted to her or she's not attracted to you, that doesn't mean that she's any less deserving of 100% of your respect.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's not even the being a Black woman, because that does add some levels to it, but women, being a woman is hard. You know what I mean? Like body image and how we carry ourselves. My mother is forever telling me she's trying to make a lady. I'm like, bruh, I got the parts. I'm a lady. But falling short on some of those actions that make me a lady. But it's hard being a woman. And it's hard keeping ourselves up, and then to know that anything could happen. You know what I mean? Is a thing as well. So next question. Through these rising movements such as Black Lives Matter, where do you hope to see Black culture in the next 5 to 10 years? And this could go
stay on top. I'm sorry.
Okay.
To stay on top. I mean, I'll continue to rise to the top. I mean, you can tell already in music industry, if you ever go in Apple Music, Billboard's top 100, guess who's at the top? Guess what song is at the top? And guess who is by a Black artist? Yeah. A Black artist, NBA, who dominates the industry? Black. I mean, I want to see personally, that's just me, not putting down anybody else, but I'm just saying, I personally, I want to see my people at the top. That's just awesome.
I think that could be another Zoom call too.
Okay. So being at the top, does that mean somebody else is on the bottom?
That by nature, yes.
Okay.
I mean, not saying that they're less than, but I'm just saying like that. That's always going to be the last person.
Okay. Aaron, what do you think?
Where I would want to see our culture is less exploited and just more understood, because I feel like our culture specifically, we're just talking about the culture itself, they take the cherry off the top and leave the rest for us. So it's like, oh, we like this one part about it, y'all deal with the reality of actually being Black. We're just going to take these fun parts.
Okay. All right. So Savannah, as our ally, what would you want to see in the next 5 to 10 years?
As an ally, I think I would just hope that in the next 5 to 10 years, we are like moving toward a world where we don't have to say Black Lives Matter, because we just know, right? Yeah. I don't want to have to keep saying that. I want people to know, yes, Black Lives Matter.
Yeah.
Period.
That's the one. Period.
The end.
Full stop. That's
not
the one.
a comma, not a semicolon.
Exclamation points.
That's it.
I think that's super vague, and I think it's to have an ally who has hopes and dreams and stuff for our culture, and for us to have hopes and dreams for our culture. When that comes together, it can make something beautiful. You know what I mean? So how do you think we measure our success? So it's gonna forever be work, right? I think every culture is working for something. How do we measure that success? I think there's been so many years of breaking this topic down of, first it was the foundation of this topic, and then it went to, our ancestors who are trying to, ally and Black, who are trying to build for better. How do we measure our success? Do you think we'll ever get to the point where we're like, all right, we made it?
I think there is a measurable, tangible threshold, and it's 13%, because that's the percent of the population that we represent in America. Once we have 13% of Congress, once we have 13% of any and everything, then I will feel like, okay, there it is. Because I don't need it to be 50-50. I don't need to turn on my TV and see half Black people, half white, because that's not the reality. I just want it to be 13%, which is the reality.
Okay.
I think I'm going to pick up back off that, because what I look for, is, who are, within companies, like, are there any Black VPs, Black CEOs? I kind of look at, I look at that basically, who are any Black people in leadership, in public office, like what Aaron's saying, I think that's what I look for as a measurable, tangible measure, I guess.
Okay. Savannah, what do you think?
You can also measure it not just in those things, which are very, very important too, but like in less police brutality, less, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Sure. So like for Aaron and Miles, since we're talking about the government aspect of it, what about, because sometimes we got to call it like it is, right? What about our culture's ignorance in the means of lack of knowledge to government things, to putting, like, to know the president is the president, but there are different branches of the government that actually do things. There are governors and mayors and senators that are actually doing things, and we're not voting those people, we're not voting those people in, because I know some of my friends, associates, things of that nature don't believe in voting because they don't feel like
it matters.
Our voices matter. You know what I mean?
I think I think things start at the state level, the local level, because you can, I think, because you're right, there's other branches of government that do affect things. I think we need to start educating our people on, hey, look at your state level. Who's your governor? Do you know who your governor is? Do you know even who, your district, congressperson is? You'd be surprised on how, especially when they start having kids, who's the head of the board of supervisors for your school district. These things, there's a lot of things that can affect changing your life that you just don't know about, because a lot of us, we look at, the president or maybe even a senator, but we forget that there's a lot of things happening, in the state local side as well, that really do affect you more than, I would say, the executive office.
For sure.
So how do we think, I would say how do you think we need to get our people educated on going out to vote those certain people in office?
Because maybe it starts at home.
We want to see our 13%, but I'd be surprised to see how many of us are going to the polls or doing, their due diligence to put people who care about, and my thing is, it may not even be a Black person, but put people who care about our bubble of life. You know what I mean?
Honestly, I think that I feel like it's hard to affect change now. I guess, of course, I mean, peer to peer, yes, but I feel like I feel like we can start affecting change once we get, like, as we grow and have our own kids, stuff like that. I think that's when I feel the tide is really going to change, in my opinion. You know, I mean, I just
think
I feel like
generational thing. We are so open-minded and willy-nilly, and you don't have to do this if you don't want to do this. Like, compared to, I think our parents who are like, no, we fought for this. We're going to do this. This is how we get into office. You know what I mean? As of us, we're like, we're gonna.
We think we know it all.
Right. We're gonna protest instead of going to the polls to vote or things of that nature. You know what I mean?
It starts at home. I think it all starts at home. You know, how I grew. It's how I grew up, where I had no choice but to vote, and that's how I learned the importance of voting. You know, my mom told me, "Hey, go out, vote for your local polls." You know, when those things open up, that's kind of how I learned. I think that's how it's really going to change, as at home. You know, Aaron, I assume what you're going to do when your kids get old enough to vote is you're going to push them to vote. You're going to make sure they're educated, and that's
we'll be physically taking them there, and we're going to all vote together.
It starts with that I vote sticker. When I was younger, I wait. Yeah, get the sticker.
Because I think we see now that, you know, we are all currently seeing, you know, all our, you know, famous celebrities, and it's all on news to go vote, and the power of voting. But education wise, it's going to happen at home and also in the schools. I feel like, you know, these things should be talked about in schools. You know, I think, you know, when I graduated 2015 from high school, but my junior year, you know, they just talked about, you know, I know. My junior year, they had just implemented a econ class where we learned about writing checks, which I already knew, but I feel like, dang, it took that long for y'all to start teaching kids about how to write checks and stuff like that. You know, I feel like these things should be implemented where we should start talking about voting and how the power of voting, you know? So plus it's going to be to me, it's going to take a while.
Okay. So, Aaron, is my next question. With having interracial children, how are you going to, or how does, not you specifically, but how does a Black father talk about the joys of being Black, but not putting down the Caucasian side of them?
Before I answer, I'm going to have to tell you that I had to have a change of heart with my wife, because we don't hear them much in 2020, but there's definitely still such thing as a Black joke, a white joke, you know, and they're always steeped in really horrible racism. And so I would always joke with my wife, especially when she was pregnant the first time, I'd be like, "We not finna have my son doing that white people stuff, blah, blah, blah." And she was like, "Listen, like, I know that you have lived such a life and you have these experiences, positive and negative, but we can't put that in our children." And so we began to have, this was probably maybe like the 5th time we had broached race like really seriously, but as a kid coming into the world, things just magnify. So as a result of that conversation, it just got deeper and deeper. And so as a team, me and my wife, and I think probably interracial people everywhere that are somewhat conscious on anything, on any level about anything in their lives, it just has to come from a place of the why, understanding the reason why before I drag them to vote. I'm going to have to discuss with them like, hey, not everybody got to vote. And even for their mom couldn't have voted right away anyway. You know, in America, when the right to vote was established, it was for one type of human, and it excluded me and their mom. So it'll be beneficial to be able to explain to them why, rather than just forcing them to do it. Because I definitely grew up like Miles, where it was just like, we finna go do this.
Yeah.
So I mean, just giving them the why, arming them with all the information is the best thing that I can possibly do for them.
I love what you said when you said as a team, we have to, you're talking about raising your children. And I feel like that may have been your click of softening your heart. You know what I mean? Because I think we talk a lot about what our allies can do, but us as well, I think we need to be softened as well. Because we be very hardcore cookie cutter, you know what I mean? Like
black and white, right?
Black jokes, but we may make white jokes or whatever it may be. And just knowing that that's another human at the end of the day, right? So I love what you said about that team aspect and then softening yourself to give these two amazing, funny little humans a better experience than what both of you have experienced, right? And it's all to make a better world, a safer world, a more inclusive world, and things of that nature. I think that is super big. And I think at the end of the day, that's that level of success. Like if we can all, black, white, blue, purple, live together and feel safe and feel comfortable and feel accepted and heard, I think that's the we made it. Where you can really sit back and say, all right, we're here. When that happens, I'm not too sure. What that looks like, I'm still not too sure. But I think that is super big. Because just like you said, their mom couldn't vote at one point in time. So you're taking into consideration somebody else's life and experience and stuff. So how can someone become an ally? So for Aaron and Miles, in your life, how does somebody become an ally for you?
So I wrote in like March or April, maybe, this like big old docket. It was long. It took hours to write. Yes. But literally.
Can I say something real quick? Aaron texted me. He said, "Did you read my post?" I said, "The post that I had to click see more," and it was a page.
It was a whole essay.
It was.
I need you to read that. I said, "Okay. Let me put my glasses on. Let me get this on."
My bifocals.
But go ahead. I'm sorry.
When I wrote that and posted it, literally people I hadn't talked to in 15 years. I graduated high school in 2007, brother Miles. So
seriously?
people I hadn't talked to in almost 15 years are like, oh my God, we were friends during this time and I never knew this about you. And so I just used all those doorways and I just ran right through each and every one of them. And probably 10 people that I hadn't talked to in over 10 years are now constantly reaching out to me and saying, hey, what is this about? Can you explain this to me? What does this mean? So I've had conversations about dog whistles, code switching, like all these terms that allies, people of color, and just generally people that have any sort of social consciousness, all these terms that we know and use, I'm teaching to new people. And they're like, oh, I recognize that now. So like Savannah said, when she goes home and she might hear something that she missed before, it's like just opening people's aperture to all of what goes on around them. And I think that in and of itself creates new allies like wildfire.
For sure. Okay. So that opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You hit a door, just run through it.
Miles, how can somebody become an ally to you?
Proving loyalty. I mean, I feel like I have to see, at least consistent effort. I try not to. So I try not. I try not to give everybody I try to give everybody the benefit of the doubt, but I try not to trust everybody, to that length where I can call them an ally. What I do want to see is that consistent, like, hey, he was there for me when, this happened, or I've seen him, constantly, go vote and go, to support all of us, not just me, but us as a community. I think that's what shows me, hey, you're an ally and I can trust you. I can call on you if I need to.
Yeah. I think, for me, calling it what it is and living in what it is one thing, which I definitely think means something to me. So when my mom's friend said that, when she said hey, I know I'm this, how can I help? Like that, I said, oh God, my tears are coming. Like, but calling it what it is, like, hey, I know we are of separate cultures going through separate things. How can I help? I think that breaks down my walls first, I will say, to then allow somebody. So similar to what Aaron said about the doors, for me, that's my open door. You could probably get more information out of me from calling it what it is and being genuine in it. You know what I mean? Savannah, I've known her for I don't know how many years now, and she is just a genuine person, not a genuine white person, not a genuine something. She is a genuine person, and you feel that. You know what I mean? So even having these kind of conversations, you know what I mean? Really.
Keep on here and embarrass me.
I'm not gonna embarrass you, I promise. But somebody opening their door for us to walk in, I think, is the start of that allyship. Wanting to understand is that start, you know what I mean? And then I think them having emotions and feelings as if it was one of their own, I think is super big to me. So when a Breonna Taylor dies, when a George Floyd, when a Jacob Blake or whatever, like they feel it because that's a person and they saw the same video we saw and said, that's just wrong. Like not it was wrong to do him like that, or it was wrong to kill that certain person. It was just, that's just wrong. And you feel it, you know what I mean? I think for me, that's what makes an ally in my life. Where I'm like, all right, I don't have to justify to you why we feel the way we feel. You've seen the same video. You know, you see the same thing, right? And that's hard. You know what I mean? It's hard for any person to empathize with something that they may not be going through, you know? But I appreciate that. I think at the end of the day, I appreciate it. And I try to make sure to tell at least the allies in my life, I appreciate you. I thank you for learning. I thank you for asking. I thank you for even like, I may not know how to help me through my anger, my struggle, my whatever, but thank you for asking, you know?
100%.
Cause that's big. I think we gotta appreciate everybody while we can, when we can, in that moment. Cause that's super big, you know? But I want to take the time to thank my wonderful, open, articulate panelists. Aaron, I thank you. That is Mr. Culture. That is Mr. He in the know.
Renaissance man.
He's a Renaissance man, for sure. For those who haven't following, you know, Aaron has been on, I think it was one other panel. That was like season 1 of LadyyT. Let's talk about it. So similar to Sensei, we may have to see if we can get him on again. Thank you.
Listen, you can get me on digital. Get me in person is another feat entirely.
Boss. He's a whole boss who are raising 2 amazing kids. Miles, I want to thank you personally for jumping in, always being ready, for amazing advice. Savannah, I want to thank you for having this conversation. Yes. Availing yourself, yes. Letting your voice be heard. Because I think it's one thing for us to say what we want, how we want you to, not you specifically, but how we want our allies to be, to talk, to act. But you are availing yourself as an ally to say, hey guys, this can be done. Like this is how you know, this is how you can as well. So hearing from another ally, I think, is super big and important. And I thank you as well.
It's a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
I want to thank everybody for tuning in, whether you are on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, if you're somebody's mama, uncle, niece, or whatever. Thank you for tuning in. We are talking about, flick it up. We are talking about the joy of being Black, the positive of being Black, and our allies. I am LadyyT. Wait.
Oh.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I was about to close it out. We wasn't ready.
Okay.
For everybody watching, I want to say, watch out. This week, we will be dropping, Idea Creations will be dropping our new website. Woo! That has been one of my biggest stressors. But because of Savannah, that was a shout out. You wasn't ready.
Oh, hello.
Once you guys see it, just know Savannah did the dang thing, and we live, baby.
Oh, it is live.
So be aware or be on the lookout for that teaser. This week is the new website. Make sure to follow me on my YouTube channel at LadyyT Lomax. Idea Creations is coming bigger, better. We're adding color to your vision this year. Super, I know. That was cute, right? I like that. Yeah, seasoning. I'm super excited to what all of Idea Creation has to bring you guys. Your girl is on it this year.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm in good mental space, surrounding myself with amazing people. You feel me? So be on the lookout for that. I thank you guys for tuning in. It is a joy being Black. It is a joy being an ally. It is a joy loving love. So without further ado, I am LadyyT. Let's talk about it.